things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. So during the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. But they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. So roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. And I have my doubts. So I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night.
Good evening. I just got huffed by the dog. Yeah, she's not very pleased at all. Yeah, still getting glared at. So, anyway, wow. Got an interesting topic to talk about tonight. Man, looking, and I know I say this a lot, but looking out across the headlines, yeah, I think there's definite need to be ready. It's not, pardon me, it's not just the United States, But we'll get to that in just a moment. Updates. So I put out a pardon me, a Patreon video earlier. So got the small grow tent cleaned up. That's cleaned up. Got the the stand or whatever. It's an old coffee table, is what it is. Got it in there, and I went and found all the components I need on Amazon for the irrigation system, and now it's just a matter of literally picking out the containers. I've got everything figured out, pretty much how I'm going to do it all. I just, now it's a matter of getting the stuff and making it so. Going to be a cool little system. Going to be really simple, and that's the idea. And that's what I was after. I wanted simple and I wanted versatile. Real quick before we get into the topic, let me explain one of the things that I was taking issue with. So, let's say you have the traditional, let's say the PVC pipe type of hydroponic system, to where you've got, several pieces of PVC pipe zigzag down. Your problem is where you put your holes, you put your holes. So if you've got your holes 3 inches apart, fine. If you've got them 6 inches apart, fine. 8 inches, whatever. The problem is, some plants you're going to need a little bit wider, and, and I mean, it's not a big deal. Just skip holes and whatever. I get it. Gotcha. But I wanted to avoid that. And so how I can do that is I can take a container, right, a bed, and fill it with clay pebbles. And then, those little pots for hydroponics, I think they call them net pots or something. Well, I figured what I'll do is I'll probably fill it up about, halfway with clay pebbles, and then the rest of the way with soil. And then put my plant, put my seed in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a pump with a manifold, all right, with valves. And so what I will be able to do with 1/4-inch tubes, and I will be able to independently control spray nozzles that I will literally be able to take and stake down into the clay pebbles anywhere I've got one of those net pots put down into. So it doesn't matter if I need 3 inches of space, 6 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches. It doesn't matter, because that net pot I can bury down into those clay pebbles anywhere I need to, and then turn around and take my stake for my irrigation system and stake it right there by it. Done. So completely universal as far as size and how I need to, so I think I am on the right track with this. So super stoked about the about this project in the small grow tent. Super stoked. So other than that, got the gutters cleaned out. That was an exciting adventure. So I'm sure you can imagine. Our gutters are so high up, I had to stand on a kitchen chair to clean them out. So it was rough. But anyway, got those cleaned out today. There was a drainage problem, and so I wanted to get that squared away. Other than that, that pretty much took up my day. In the process of getting the germination video shot. I mean, I can only go as fast as the germination goes. So, in the process of that, I'm trying to work out. You might be wondering, well, why the hell are you here if you said you were going to be on Patreon only tonight? I am working this stuff out, and I may do my regular, my nightly news broadcast may be a public thing. It may just go to a public thing. Believe me, I've got plenty of stuff that I can fill in over on Patreon to make it worth the patrons' while. For one, this hydroponic stuff. All this hydroponic stuff, I'll give YouTube snippets, but I'm going to be honest, most of it's going to be on Patreon because that is going to be the fringe benefit of being over there. However, there's probably going to be changes, and well, not probably. There is going to be a bunch of changes as far as the Patreon side goes too, and I think they're going to be good changes. So just bear with me. I'm working this stuff out. Bear with me. Ever since, to be honest, I did the show last night, I have been getting quite a bit of clarity on some things. So, I'm working on it. So, that pretty much covers, I think, the updates. Let me get into the topic. And so, as I said, it's not just the United States. It's many different countries around the world, many different issues. And quite frankly, a lot of these nations are fed up. And there's a lot more turmoil that's being stirred up currently, like right now. Obviously, some of it involving the United States, which could accelerate issues. There is a certain level between nations of, I'm just going to say bullshit. And they know it, and they deal with it with one another. And, you know, they both go back to their own countries, to their own people that they speak to, that, you know, they represent, and take the hard line, you know, we're the hard asses, we're, you know. And both nations will do that on a situation when, truth be known, they're working together behind closed doors. Happens all the time. That's called diplomacy. But there's a lot going on now that is going far beyond that. There are nations that are really, you know, there's a lot of nations that, to my knowledge, hasn't brought up war, but you can tell it's definitely on the table. Let me give you an example. With this whole Brexit deal that happened over there across the pond, there's a lot of countries that are at each other's throats right now. And it may not stay civil. There's quite a few pissed off folks. And while I don't know all the ins and outs of their politics and Brexit and all that stuff that's going on over there, and I'm not going to try to pretend to, I do know how to look at headlines and go, holy shit. And I've done a lot of that. So, you know, we've got these issues, and then there's one other thing that I do want to make sure to mention, and not just because it's the cool thing to mention today, but because, yeah. So this Flynn character made some remarks to the effect that there should be a coup here, like in Myanmar. And it's rattling some cages. And I'm looking at this as I've been watching the whole thing. And I have to wonder if this isn't just one more honeypot. Because that is what it seems like they're doing. They're just one thing after another, and they are riling people up and getting people to do stupid shit, and then arresting them. And I'll be damned if it doesn't seem if all of them are involved in it. They're not working together to make it happen, I swear. That is what I see. But I'm not coming from somebody that's got to choose a side. I'm coming from somebody looking at this at both sides going, what in the hell is going on here? Yeah, I've said that about the entire election, and because, man. So, anyway, back more to the point. I'm talking about conflict internationally. We've got possible conflict here. Now, when I say that, am I saying, the military's going to listen to Flynn? They're going to, no, I don't believe that for a second. I can't believe that for a second. But what I also can't tell you is what is going to come of disgruntled people, because once again getting their hopes up and then getting let down, because it's only a matter of time. And that's why I was trying to warn so heavily about getting our hopes up, especially like with Trump, and how everybody was having their hopes up that this was going to happen, and then no, this was going to happen, and then this. And I told everybody from the beginning they were being rope-a-doped. It was obvious. Why? Because again, I'm not coming from a side. It's obvious. I mean, worse than a bad B movie obvious. But you can't be emotionally wrapped up in this shit show that we call American politics. So, anyway, getting back more to the actual topic, I've got some links here that I'd open up. They're headlines that we're going to be doing as well, but they're just things that I noted throughout the day that went on, and it's showing a lot of instability and the areas of instability, and I think it's a good indicator of where we are. Some of it is, quite frankly, same old news, but that is the news. Because I'm speaking in reference to troop buildup. The amount of troops that are being amassed right now are insane, and that's going to be in the headlines as well. Phone was going crazy with notifications. It's always behind. That's actually, that was notifications for when I started the show. So 19 minutes behind. Thanks for being punctual. All right. Let's see. Let me go ahead and bring up Lism. And I was talking about let me go ahead. This is one of the things that I saw. And now I've been watching several different things over the last 2-3 years with Germany, involving German-U.S. relations, and they've not been so hot. And remember that diplomacy that I was talking about? How they work together and then go back and they're hardline. And at the end of the day, they really don't give a damn about each other, but there is a level of diplomacy. Well, there was a media report that came out about the United States spying on Germany. And I don't think this is one of those diplomatic things. So this is something, I'm not saying, oh my God, it's going to be World War. No. But you have to understand right now, battle lines are being drawn. And the final tallies of who's going to be on what side are being made. And with that in consideration, this is kind of a big deal, especially considering that we haven't had super good relations with Germany anyway, as of late. So this is just something to pay close attention to. Another thing, as always, to pay attention to is the economy and how currencies are stacking up against one another. When there's a lot of global debt, there's definitely, high risk of global conflict. But also, whenever the world reserve currency, namely the US dollar, it usually switches about the same time of war, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not coincidental. It's you have to understand, okay? We have a fiat currency. And so the only thing that makes that piece of paper worth anything is the fact that we got guns. A lot of them. Well, so do other countries. So when it comes down to that, and that's the only thing left, that's what's going to happen. But see, we'd had many other things leading up till now that gave us the power to hold that title, to have reserve currency, but we've lost it all. And it's nothing but ink and paper at this point. So, logically, the world's reserve currency, sooner or later, is going to change to another currency, whichever is the strongest at that time, which, from all the projections I can tell, is absolutely going to be the Chinese yuan. Like it or not, hey, I'm just reporting projections. I'm not the one doing it. So, I hear chilling. Blue running over. Blue! The little dog Blue's acting all. Let's see. So this is another thing involving the economy and how it could most certainly thrust us into conflict involving yet another country. And so, as I said, these battle lines are getting drawn up. And Germany, in my opinion, is probably going to go with Russia and China and probably several other nations for their side of this shindig. And this, man, that could definitely be a catapult. If Russia is cut off from SWIFT, That could most certainly be a catapult. That could be what actually gets this going. So we'll see. I don't think they'll take too kindly for it. It's not that they can't deal with it, that they can't function without being on Swift, but because they've already got their own system set up and everything else. So I mean that's not so much an issue. It's just the principle of it. And I do think that will cause conflict. Keep an eye out on that. Keep an eye out on that. The interesting thing is there's been, talks about talks, for lack of saying it better. And I thought this was an interesting headline that came out today. And I've seen both Putin and Z say some really... Okay, you remember how Trump was to other countries? The way he talked to other, I should say, about other countries. He didn't, I don't necessarily know that he actually talked to them that way. I doubt he did, but he undoubtedly talked about them that way. Well, here's the interesting thing. Russia and China has been essentially talking to the United States the very same way. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Almost makes me want to be cliche and say, what would Trump do? Man, we're in a bad spot. We're in a bad spot, and we don't look good. Man, this is nuts. If you really sit back and think about the position we're in, okay? And I know I'm kind of laughing, but it's like, holy cow. And I look at these chess pieces on this table, and all I can do is sit there and keep as close of an eye as I can on each and every piece to see which one starts to move. We look very weak right now to other nations, undoubtedly. I'm not trying to put down the United States or anything like that, so nobody get ruffles in a feather or feathers in a ruffle or however you feel like doing it. With whatever you identify having. But, so, like I said, we look pretty weak. I don't think we necessarily are. I don't think we are weak, necessarily. I'm not saying that I think that we can whoop everybody's ass. I absolutely don't think that. What I'm getting at is I don't think that under a Biden administration, that if there was a clear act committed against the United States, I don't think there would be hesitation. I don't. In fact, I'd venture to say Mr. Biden seems to me to be inching to get into war. But that's just me. But the idea that Russia and China are starting to call out the United States, I mean, I know it's not necessarily a new thing, but they're getting very personal as of late. And I've noticed that too, that change in the conversation. And that's very important stuff to be mindful of, the tone. so to speak, of the conversation. Like I said, it's one thing when it's the diplomatic banter that's back and forth, but I'm not. I'm seeing something that goes far beyond that banter. So, and I've got another link here, and then I'm just got the regular headlines, but I'll talk a little more to this. Russia to marshal 20 new military formations armed with the latest weaponry in response to heightened NATO activity near its borders. Now, this is like the third time that I'm sure of that I've reported on this just since we've moved in this place here. So there's a lot of troops that are getting amassed on the border. A lot. And I got to thinking about that when I saw this headline today. And you know what? If they're suspecting, because I honestly don't think that Russia's going to be a provocateur. I really don't. I don't think they'll be the one to start anything. I don't. I know that it doesn't matter where conflict kicks off. They're going to want, meaning NATO, is going to want troops amassed on the border, on the eastern border of Russia. Or is that the western border? I guess it'd be the western border, sorry. And they're going to want to be able to invade into there, as well as anywhere else around the country that they can, but that's going to be an important spot. And the amount of troops, I'm not hearing the amount of troops that the NATO side is amassing. I'm not seeing that anymore. But I am constantly seeing that Russia is putting more and more troops. Does that mean it's Russia being aggressive and trying to start something? No. Their country. They can put their troops wherever the hell they want in their country. Well, how is that being aggressive? You think if there was any chance of Mexico militarily invading us, that we wouldn't have troops amassed on the border? I beg to differ. I mean, well, it probably depends on administrations. Biden might not. He'd still be tearing down the wall. Now, I'm not quite sure how many. I did read the article. But I don't know how many troops are in a formation. So I have no idea how many troops this actually will involve. However, using that information along with what they said about the latest weaponry, if that's true, going to be a lot of autonomous stuff deployed. That I'm sure of. Speaking of autonomous stuff, there is a lot of buzz going around about the U.S. and their autonomous toys. as well. And I can't really jump into a lot of specifics, but I hear they've got some programs that are pretty on point. So this is kind of freaky to me. You have to understand. And there was a video that had been going around for a while, and the video is like a concept video. It's not like real. And the video shows drones that are released, and they go and fly, and the guy's doing a demonstration on a stage, and he talks about there being a shape charge in the drone and blah blah blah. You probably saw the video. But the truth of the matter is that is absolutely 110% reality. There have been reports, and I'm sure you've heard of them. In fact, it was in one of the headlines I know that I covered. This was, I don't know, maybe last week. Something about an autonomous drone following somebody over in the Middle East, I believe. And it was doing so. I don't think it was supposed to. I don't think it was supposed to, but it tracked them anyway or something. I don't know all the details about it. This stuff is being used already. Probably more than you could ever imagine. It's probably being used, say, in places like the Middle East, obviously. It's probably being used right here in the United States of America against American citizens. Guaranteed. The future of warfare looks a little daunting. Because how in the hell do you fight a drone? Man. So, we'll see. And, the stuff like that video showed that I was talking about. I mean, I know there's a portion of the video shows a plane flying that releases just a ton of these drones, and then they just swarm down and go find their targets and eliminate their targets. Very likely scenario. Very possible. I mean, the technology is there. And in fact, it was argued early on and then got shut down. For the most part, it was shut down so everybody could start fantasizing about stupidity. But initially, that's what people were talking about when it came to the 5G systems. And the concerns about the 5G systems is that it was to be able to bring these autonomous systems online everywhere globally. Well, anywhere there's 5G, which they intend to put it globally. And so that is an absolute realization, and the things are getting put in place to be able to do that stuff right now. It's surreal, the times we are living in. But I hope everybody's getting ready, because that's going to be your best bet for all of this, is to be able to stay put if need be and ride a situation out. So, because if that is how things go down, if nations do go to war with one another, and that war is fought at least partially on our homeland, you can damn well bet it's going to employ drones, probably quite a few of them. And it might be a good idea to be able to steer clear of them. Just saying. And if you don't have to be seen or noticed, then don't. That's the best thing I could tell you. And not necessarily going to be a super easy thing to do either. Because I'm telling you, just these surveillance drones have sensors like you would not imagine. And typically they're going to find somebody, whether it's with a heat signature, a biometric signature. They're going to find people. And it's not going to be fun. Not going to be fun. Now, I don't think that, at least I hope, that other nations wouldn't target specifically civilian populations. But remember, anything can happen, especially on a new type of battlefield. The other thing is that autonomous machine, whichever type it is, if it detects you as a threat, period, whether you're a military member or not, it's going to take you out. So if you're standing there holding a gun, guess what? It's going to take you out because it knows what you're doing and it knows that's a threat. I'm telling you, this technology's out there. It's been out there. It's been around for a very, very long time. And at this point, they've pretty well got the stuff perfected. So, I mean, they've got it down pat pretty well. So, um, really, that's all I know to say on it. Just keep getting ready. I'm watching this unfold, and it's definitely building up, and I don't see a release for it whatsoever. Just because things have calmed down militarily in Israel and Palestine doesn't mean that's going to stay that way. The reason why I say that is because there are a lot of countries that are kind of at odds with each other over that situation too. So this, that, half a dozen of the other, and I would say it's probably a good idea to be ready. So let me have a sip of tea, a few vapes, and I'll get on doing some headlines and. Ah. Yep, looks like we're going to be heading into several days of rain. Fun times. More monsoon season. Actually, it hasn't been super bad this year, but. Been sitting here thinking how I can build me a containment system. I'm doing everything I can to avoid having to buy wood, because I'm scared. Um, so I'm trying to come up with ways to construct it out of materials that are cheaper. Because I can either make a bed or I could use like totes or something like that. I would kind of prefer, to be honest, to have just one bed. Just one bed. No divisions, no. Because that way I would have my maximum grow space that I could work with. So. Oh man. Fun times. But yeah, came up with what I think is going to be a pretty, yikes, pretty good irrigation system for it, I think. And considering it have valves, um, if I've only got one plant in there, well, I can just only have one valve on. Otherwise, I can have 4 plants, 5 plants, whatever. The valves I'm looking at, I'll probably get a 12 valve. That'd give me 12. That'd give me 12 plants that I can put in that grow space. So, for now, I would say that's good enough. So, and I'm actually going to use, it's a manifold valve for the air, actually, for like an aquarium. So that's actually what I'm going to use, because if you go and look at what it costs to buy 1/4-inch barbed valves for an irrigation system, you're going to be paying, about $10 for 4 of them or so, somewhere around that. And I would like to be able to have a minimum of 12 spots. And so you're talking about a good chunk of change just in those stupid little valves. Well, I can buy, I can't remember what that valve was. Actually, I got a little list going on here. Hang on a second. $18.49. So $18.49 versus 4 times 3. Let's say $30 or whatever. So I'm saving $10, and this would be a lot easier to work with anyway. So, and then that's the pump I'll probably go with. I think that'd be a big enough pump. I think that'd do me just fine. Gotta have this stupid little tubing, and then these are the sprayer nozzles that I was looking at. So, and then stakes. I think that's it. And then the stakes. So, and that'd be the irrigation system. So, getting stuff together on the list for that. I need to get another thing of clay pebbles added to that, because I know I'll need another thing of that. I know for sure I'll need another one, possibly 2 more of the clay pebbles. So, see if the ones I get comes right up top. Uh-oh. About to knock my tea over. Aha. Add those to that list. Yep, so yeah, those things aren't cheap either. $43 a bag. So anyway, figured I had to get that added there. I know I want to grow 2 or 3. I prefer maybe 3 different types of lettuce. And I want to grow 1 head of cabbage in there. And I want to grow some peppers. Just bell peppers. And I'm sure I'll have a little bit of room left over after that, but I'm not positive what I want to throw in there with it. So, thought about maybe a thing of kale or something like that. What I'm essentially doing is I'm making myself a salad. Well, kinda. I mean, that is one of the things I want to do. I want to be able to. I don't have a lot of grow space, so I want to be able to grow the stuff to make us salads. And I mean, come on, if me and Jen can eat a salad every day until we're sick and death of salads, Now, if we eat a salad every day that I'm growing organically, because I'm going to use all organic fertilizer on it, if I'm growing all the stuff for our salad organically, okay, and we eat a salad every day, that's only going to improve our health. And so it may not be a lot, but it's something. And man, I'm telling you what, that Lead Farmer 73, he's got me hooked on this idea of growing trees in pots. And it's going to happen. As soon as I've got the money, my first tree I want's a pawpaw tree. It's going to cost me about like $50-$60 to buy the plant. And then all I got to do is stick it in a pot. Seriously, that's all I got to do is stick it in a pot. And it's good. So I figure I've already got 5-gallon grow pots. So all I got to do is get the tree. And once I can get the tree, put it in that 5-gallon grow pot, and I'm good to go. Yeah, it will need to go into a bigger pot sometime down the road. But hell, they make even those cheap mesh pots. They make 20-gallon mesh pots. Not a problem. So that's what I figured I would actually do. Well, what I figured I would do is start it out in the 5-gallon pot, and once it gets a little bigger and established, then I would probably just go ahead and put it in a 20-gallon pot and put it on a cart so that I could roll it around. And there you go. So I want to start out with a pawpaw tree. I definitely wouldn't mind a peach tree. That would be nice. But I wouldn't mind having an apple tree and maybe a plum tree. I don't know. I got to look into the trees, and I have to see what the deal is. Because, some types of trees, they won't fruit for quite a while. I don't want anything like that. I want something that's going to fruit pretty quick, hopefully within a year or so. So, and that's the other thing, too. I was looking at pawpaw trees, and I don't know how long they take to fruit, to be honest, but I know I for sure want one. Even if it does take 2 or 3 years or whatever, I definitely want a pawpaw tree. And if it's going to take more than a year to be able to start doing anything, then I want to get started on it first. So, however, I do notice when I look at pawpaw trees on the internet, there's a lot of people that sell them a year old. So I'm thinking that it might be about the second year or something before you got much of a chance. I don't know. I know I could Google it and find out and know for sure, and I haven't yet. I just haven't yet. Why haven't I yet? Because I don't got $60 to go buy me a tree. So when I do, there'll be a lot more research that goes on before I click buy now. Believe me. So anyway, let me do some headlines and get out of here for the evening. And like I say, expect that the regular news shows will be public, and I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to be doing with Patreon over there. Plus the other changes coming to Patreon, good stuff. So I'm working it all out in my head before I go into any details. So got a lot of working out to do yet. So I'm first day in on me working through this. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't even ask to have the clarity that I've been given. It was just given. So, anyway, let's do some headlines. Oh. Let's see. What am I looking at? About get small tree drop. What do you mean by drop? DRAUF. I show that as German for on. Wait, were you saying graft? I think you might have been saying graft. Um. Anyway, we have a sip of tea. No eating, drinking, and cheering. Japan mulls more restrictions for fans at Tokyo Olympics besides tests and proof of vaccination. Travel restrictions and partial lockdown imposed in Guangzhou, China. I know I said that wrong. Against cluster of Indian COVID variant. Oh, spelled wrong. I guess you meant graft. Is what you meant. Yeah, I've been curious about a lot of the things that Lead Farmer does and why he does them and all that. Before I make a move on anything, oh no, drought. Get small tree drought. Okay, well I still got to Google drought because I have no. Well, what the hell's drought? I Google that. No, not any smarter. I'm trying to decipher what you were meaning, and I'm failing miserably. Anyway, I'll continue reading headlines and educate me. Let's see. Canada's largest pension funds stick to lucrative oil sands bets. RT's reports from the thick of war in Central African Republic as Russian instructors aim to help local troops bring lasting peace. India extends $41 billion loan guarantee scheme to airlines and small businesses amid pandemic. Pro-Israeli U.S. group presents Iron Dome, a smirking flying superhero who reminds critics of supremacist villains. Like little people can't spell. Dwarf. Get it? Go. Oh, dwarf. The tree might be offended. That's the one thing about a pawpaw tree. I think it stays relative. I mean, it's not something you can keep inside, but I mean, it stays within reason. I think average height of a mature pawpaw tree, I think I read, was like 25 feet. The ones I was looking at. So even at full maturity, they're not huge trees. So, you know, I'm good. If I can hang on to a tree for 5 or 6 years even, with it bearing fruit, before I got to figure out where to plant the damn thing because it's going to become permanent somewhere, I'm good. I'm absolutely good. So yeah, that's a non-issue for me. But that's one reason why I want to choose all trees that I don't have to wait 3 years for the thing to start fruiting. So I can't wait. Just the idea of me being able to do that, and I've always wanted a pawpaw. I've never had one, and I hear it tastes a lot like a banana, and I am just nuts about bananas. And so if I can grow a tree that will produce a fruit that tastes a lot like a banana, yeah, give me a whole hell of a lot of that. So, and I wouldn't mind growing like what is it he called those? I know what he's talking about because I had one not super long ago, and they're freaking amazing. What kind of oranges were those? Were they the Pink Lady or were they Pink Lemonade? What were they? Or was it something else they were called? But they pinkish, right? But I mean, some of the most delicious oranges I've tasted, and yeah, if I can get that happening right out in my yard, I'm on it. I am on it. So, um, and I think it'd be cool to try to help encourage other people to do the same thing. I mean, literally, if it's that easy, why the hell aren't we doing this? So, anyway, let me do some headlines. Australia and no headlines. Australia and New Zealand unite in concerns over Beijing after New Zealand was accused of seeking fast Chinese buck. China allows couples to have third child in order to fix the country's aging population problem. Russian woman, arrested in Minsk after grounding a Ryanair flight, could be deported home after trial, says Belarus's chief diplomat. France says allegations of U.S. espionage on European leaders are extremely serious and may have consequences. And now, I missed this one when I was pulling up the headlines for the show. But this is just another case, and also involving the espionage. So again, things are not looking good. A gold on track for best month since last summer amid weaker dollar and inflation woes. Going with the flow, Russia doesn't plan to shut off gas to Ukraine after Nord Stream 2 pipeline complete, a top diplomat insists. A dim stage surprise walkout at Texas State House to block vote on voting rules bill governor calls on special session. First case of AstraZeneca vaccine blood clotting recorded in South Korea as man hospitalized. Let's see. Wikipedia may be branded foreign agent if Russia adopts law imposing new rules on tech giants, says Foundation's representative. Manhunt for armed ex-soldiers in France ends with fugitive neutralized, injured in firefight with police. Yeah, I've heard him talk about Honeycrisp. Yeah, I've heard him talk about Honeycrisp apples. So, yeah, I just have to sit down and look and then see what all I want. Because, I mean, again, if it's that easy, why the hell aren't we doing it? I mean, I'll have a forest out there. I don't care. And if it's in pots, the landlord ain't going to care. So, I mean, if I get enough of them out there, he'd probably appreciate if I would take care of around him. So when he mows, he can just mow. So he doesn't have to weed eat around 10 pots. But, that ain't a big deal. No, I don't plan on having 10 trees, but you know what I mean. Let's see. Germany seeks clarification over media report claiming Denmark's Secret Service helped NSA spy on Merkel. We had books while you had swamps. Ukrainian politicians celebrate founding of capital with string of anti-Russian billboards. EU Commission advises states to ease border restrictions as COVID vaccination numbers rise. U.S. dollar weakens to 3-year low against Chinese yuan. Russia may be cut off from SWIFT banking payment system as part of West's spiral of sanctions, warns country's foreign ministry. Oh my goodness, yeah. I would definitely like plum and peach, and I hear pears take a while. Otherwise, I would definitely be getting some pears going on. But I hear those take a long while. That's what Led Farmer was saying anyway. UK nursery school calls police on 4-year-old boy over smartwatch in classroom, deeming it a recording device. Key issues unresolved in nuclear deal discussions, but progress made, Iran spokesman says. Mass grave with remains of at least 640 Soviet prisoners of war discovered at former German Nazi concentration camp in Russia. Bitter rivals Greece and Turkey agree on plan to boost economic ties, recognize each other's COVID-19 vaccine certificates. Let's see. Ex-envoy to UN Nikki Haley calls VP Harris unprofessional and unfit over Memorial Day tweet, gets pilloried by blue checks. Vietnam bans all inbound international flights to its capital as nation struggles to contain, what? Where did I get the M from? Contain COVID-19 outbreak. Train traffic disrupted all across the Netherlands as network malfunction leaves drivers incommunicado. Bitcoin headed for second largest monthly drop on record. Very complicated matter. ABC bans term apartheid in coverage of the Israel-Palestine conflict. How nice of them. Russia to marshal 20 new military formations armed with latest weaponry in response to heightened NATO activity near its borders. Authorities swoop on former Kyrgyz PM in corruption purge as new government rolls in to take over toxic Canadian-run gold mine. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn says coup similar to one in Myanmar should happen in the U.S. Russia ready to discuss human rights if Biden wants, but starting with arrest of protesters who stormed U.S. Capitol, says Foreign Minister Lavrov. Jewish extremists plotted firebomb attack on Palestinians, but failed to find hidden weapons stash, local media report. Child dresses as Adolf Hitler and lists Nazi dictator's accomplishments for class project, prompting investigation. And I'm asking myself, why? Is Adolf Hitler a figure in history? Absolutely. Was he a positive figure in history? No. But he was indeed a figure in history. And whether people like it or not, Adolf Hitler was actually one of the most accomplished people on the planet. Like it or not, that is a historical fact. What does getting butthurt about it do? I don't get it. I have personally looked into the inventions and creations and stuff of Adolf Hitler, and I'm telling you, it's impressive. The man definitely was up there with the top minds in history. Again, I'm not saying he was a great guy. I'm not saying I want to resurrect him and have him over for dinner. I'm not saying that. But historically, the man was a very accomplished individual. The list of inventions that he has under his belt are monumental, which include things like the hydraulic press. So it frustrates me when I see something like this because all this young man was doing was a report. That's it. That's it. I don't get it. Why are we no longer allowed to talk about anything? I know I'm not going to stop. Pentagon chief denies U.S. Army is soft, claims adversaries like Russia want to capitalize on talking points. Russia to resume passenger flights to multiple countries, including UK and Austria. WHO proposes using Greek alphabet to label COVID-19 strains to avoid stigmatizing countries with namesake variants. You mean all the different versions of the China virus? Is that what we're talking about here? The Wuhan flu? I mean, I'm just looking for examples. Get over it, buddy. God. What's the big deal? Right? I don't get it. We've got far more things, there's more serious things to be concerned with in this world than this nonsense. At least I do. Canadian health officials apologize after children receive unapproved COVID-19 vaccine by mistake. Well, I'm not going to be receiving any COVID-19 vaccine by mistake. So there's that. Get that shared out here. I do want to throw this out there for folks that don't know. Pocket Coin, or PocketNet, PocketNet, which again the web address is pocketnet.app.app, alpha, papa. That platform has now started allowing people to upload videos. So, and that platform uses blockchain technology. So it's, when you put something up, it's up. And so far it looks to be doing pretty good. And this isn't some crap like Steam It to where they partnered with somebody that this and that and it just didn't want to work and it was crap. No, this seems to be doing all right. So I'm sure it's going to have bugs and they'll get things worked out through it. But I'm telling you what, it was just released, the video portion of their platform was just released. And I'm telling you, it's looking promising. So again, that's pocketnet.app. And this is what the site looks like. I'll bring it up here real quick for you. And like I say, now they support video upload. So that's kind of a new thing here. And you can make money here. So right now they're showing that the pocket coins are worth roughly $2.82 a piece. I'm setting it just under 38 pocket coins. So, and I haven't posted anything in forever. So I actually need to start coming over here and posting stuff. But, yeah. So lots of stuff over here. And you can make a little bit of pocket coins. I figured I'm just going to let it build up and whatever. I mean, according to this, looking at least like close to $70 or so, Can't sneeze at that. Actually, more than that. Let's see. Yeah, more than that. So, not bad. I need to post over here. Anywho, can't think of anything else. Tomorrow I'm gonna take another look at the that coffee table thing in there and see if I can come up with some way with something that I might have around here or something to make a containment system. Or if not, at the very least, things I can build one with. Because if I can build a frame that will stay together, I could line that with plastic. In fact, I've even got plastic here. So if I could somehow make a frame that would be able to hold the clay pebbles, I would have something. No, I don't want to go that route. That would be too hard to set up the return back into the reservoir. Yeah, I'd rather use some type of containment system. So I'll get it figured out. Not a big deal. I've already, like I said, I've gotten a lot further on it than what I thought I was going to get. And then just being able to find all that stuff for the irrigation system, and realizing that wasn't going to be as bad as what I thought it was going to be. It's all coming together. So anyway, I am gonna get out of here, and God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. So keep your eye out on things. Like I say, things are getting a little crazy. It's not necessarily just with the United States. I would expect we're going to see something in one of these nations soon, even if it's not one that involves, directly involves the U.S. We're going to see something. But that buildup of the troops is concerning. It really is, because I know at this point they've amassed a whole lot of them. So, anyway, I am out of here. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Do it all again. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.